All right, guys. Chat, people that are watching this on YouTube after we upload it. This is actually some really big news. Okay. So I actually heard this before. Someone tagged me in it, but I want to shout them out anyways. So big shout out to Morgan for tagging me in this. And this is a big deal. So if you guys have not heard, the San Antonio Spurs, along with the Atlanta Hawks, Sacramento Kings, and Chicago Bulls, have been in talks about possibly getting RJ Barrett. Now, you can take this as you will, okay? I wouldn't lie to you about anything. I just wouldn't. I can confirm, yes, this is absolutely true. This is absolutely true. Now, as far as the details, I won't say any of that because I have heard, but won't tell you any of that. But I will say it's out there, and I can just confirm, yeah, this is absolutely true. So the Spurs are in conversations about this. As far as whether or not it happened, we'll wait to see. I know that fans in particular are going to have kind of mixed feelings about this, right? But I'll tell you this right off the bat. If the Spurs could manage to have RJ Barrett give up maybe a few seconds or something like that, maybe a first, I think that it will be worth it. I know that he'll be, I don't want to say a project because that's a little inaccurate, but I know that he can be a little inconsistent, but he's had many different games throughout this season where he could put up 35, 39, like 30 points. And it's very impressive. So RJ Barrett, he has plenty of potential, and he's already shown that he can be a bad man at times, right? Now, what's the most promising, and I guess actually let's go back down to some history, okay? If you guys don't remember, this isn't the first time the Spurs showed a little bit of interest in RJ Barrett. There were discussions before pertain to possibly giving up Devin Vassell, or at least he was on the table. Is it from this article, actually? I might have brought up the wrong article. Hold on. Let's see if that comes up. Let's see. Spurs should create trade framework with star shooting guard Devin Vassell as its centerpiece. Financially, Barrett will make... I'm pretty sure... Okay, so this is just saying what they should do, but I'm pretty sure we were in talks... Possibly, like they asked about Devin Vassell. I remember that. But if the Spurs can manage to keep Devin and have RJ, that would be crazy. But the difficulty that we have here is the amount of money that he makes. So that might be something that you might be worried about. If you're worried about the inconsistency, though, I think if you put this in perspective, right, a little bit of nuance, RJ Barrett currently, his usage rate is the highest on his team. And with the usage rate being the highest on his team and the team being on his back and him being a little bit inconsistent, he has some pretty good stats though, right? And I can only imagine what a bench would look like if we had RJ Barrett being one of the players to lead it. That would actually be pretty nice. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but it's something to at least talk about, right? So just something to keep in the back of your mind. Possibly somebody that the Spurs could go for. But as it stands, what we do know for a fact is that the Spurs have entertained it, and it's something that's been talked about. And maybe we'll wait and see what happens near draft day, right? If you guys want an update as far as what things look like the upcoming draft, big shout out to Josh Paredes for posting this. So this is the off-season guide that he posted. So as far as San Antonio can negotiate with their own free agents, that's yet to be seen because it's after the finals, but it could be June 14th, 17th, 20th, or the 23rd. You can see here that the NBA draft is the 25th, 26th, and then deadline for player team options and qualifying offers to free agents is the end of the month, June 29th. So you probably need to screenshot that or just go to Twitter and like it, repost it so you remember. But yeah, so this is something that's been discussed. We'll see what comes out of it. But I do think that, you know, if you have any doubts as far as RJ Barrett is concerned, Keep in mind that he's very talented. And under the San Antonio Spurs, his usage rate would change quite a bit. And I think that he will be an absolute beast if we could just use him coming off of the bench. He said Harrison Barnes type of role. Yeah, possibly. I don't think because how is his 3-point shooting? Oops. 3-point shooting, 35%. It's okay. It's all right. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. So yeah, I'm pretty optimistic towards this. If they can make it happen, but you're gonna have to get rid of the right guys, right? But luckily for us, the Spurs did a good job of making sure these contracts are set up in a way that we can make things happen, right? But there's a few players that come to mind that I can think of that you could probably move off of. I won't tell you exactly what I heard, but this is absolutely true. So we'll just wait and see if anything actually comes from it. Because just because they inquired about it, just because it's out there, doesn't mean that it's going to happen, right? And as you can see here, there's some. I didn't know about the other teams until I actually saw this post. But apparently they're also talking to the Hawks, Kings, and Bulls. So you never know. You never know. So we'll just wait and see. But yeah, Cam Johnson would make us a 50-win team. Cam Johnson would be a nice addition. You know what I mean? Yeah, see. Here's Mars type of role. Why trade a first for a player who's worse than Fasel? Well, I guess it depends on what first you're talking about. I would not give up. I'm not somebody that will be huge on giving up first because we have so many freaking second round picks, right? And then you can give away some players too. But when you have competition like this against, well, I guess the Atlanta Hawks don't have much, huh? But you got competition like this with other teams also competing for this. I guess it just depends on how badly you want them, right? It might take a first. It might take a first. But we'll see. See what happens. But yeah. But as far as RJ Barrett is concerned, very good scorer. A little streaky at times, but he has some performances where it just stands out the page. Pretty high basketball IQ player. He will fit in just fine with the Spurs. Just have him come off the bench. All Gucci. But let me know what you think on YouTube. Trying to see if I missed anything that we want to discuss. I don't think so. Doesn't seem like anybody in the chat's really that excited. RJ could be fire. Not efficient, but consistent. Honestly, this might be a little controversial to say. Real talk, this might be a little controversial to say. But I'll say I think RJ Barrett actually creates shots a little better than Devin, even though Devin's really good, right? I think if you want to compare the two, I do think that he creates shots a little bit better than Devin. Creates space a little bit better. But yeah, I feel we need more role players, a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Well, that's what I'm saying. If his usage rate is this high with Toronto Raptors and you put him on the Spurs and he's like a fourth option, and then you can also keep Devin, that would be kind of insane, right? If you can put him more in a role player type role and every now and then, you know, he can just pop off, that is insane, in my opinion. And also, I guess let me say this, okay? Actually, I probably should have said this earlier. I think that this actually gives us a good idea what's going on with the Spurs, right? Like, we already know that Giannis is probably off the table, right? The Spurs don't want to give up everything just for Giannis. There's talks that the Bucks might hold on to him. And it seems like what the Spurs are looking for are players around this age range that could play with Wemby, right? So, you know, mid-20s, you know, obviously De'Aaron Fox is 27. So guys that are kind of like mid-20-ish, He's probably their main veteran, and that's probably what they want to run with. And other guys that can just kind of fill into their spots and just be in a complementary role to Wemby. So doesn't really. I wouldn't worry too much. Keep in mind, all right, guys, we have the privilege of something, okay? We have the privilege of two things. Number one, you got the second overall pick, okay? And Dylan Harper is very good. Very good, okay? So I have no doubts in my mind that we're going to be totally fine, all right? So that's number one. And number two, you have Wembanyama. Should end up being one of the greatest players of all time. And if we're lucky, the greatest player of all time. It could really come down to that. So when you're looking at our team in the future, I wouldn't worry too much and like start to micro analyze every little thing about players. RJ Barrett is very talented. Can he be a little streaky? Sure. But he doesn't have to be in a role that he is right now with Toronto, where you're just using him every single play, right? He doesn't have to be that. So if the Spurs were to manage to grab him, I guarantee you his role is not going to be that of Wemby's sidekick. It's probably not going to be the case. He's going to be someone coming off the bench, and that just gives you so much depth. That's so important in today's NBA. And when people talk about timeline, well, he should definitely fit in your timeline. I think he's younger than Keldon, and he's actually, how old is Devin? Is he younger than Devin too? Hold on. RJ Barrett birthday. He's born June 14th, 2000. And we'll do Devin. Okay, he's like slightly older than Devin, but they're the same age. Just a few months off. Yeah, like slightly older than him. So, yeah, this is the age range the Spurs want to go with. So, I think that we can at least start crossing people off the list, right? Unless we're talking backup centers or backup big man or whatever, we probably can mark people off the list that are in their 30s. The Spurs are going to go after guys in their mid-ish 20s. Guys that can produce right now, maybe have a little bit of upside still to their careers, but you can fit them next to Wemby. But, yeah. RJ Barrett is low-key just KJ. He's better than KJ. No offense to Keldon, but he's better than Keldon. Anyways, just wanted to throw that at you.